All right, so welcome to another video. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at Facebook, and we're going to see because it's powering about 13% higher after earnings. I do want to let you know that none of these are recommendations, just my own personal opinion, and definitely check out our website here at tradersfly.com. You can also take a look at a lot of freebies here that we have, and as well as some classes, courses, and do a one-on-one coaching session if you'd like to go ahead and get together. I also have a Discord channel if you want to take a look at some of these similar charts that we talk about. They get posted right in here, absolutely free. It's kind of like a chat room, but also get some announcements in there. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at Facebook here. It's definitely powering higher. It's one of the ones that's making some headlines. So if we go to Facebook stock and you check out the earnings, they had a pretty good release on the earnings, and it's making some moves now. They were bad, but not the worst, so that's kind of what they're saying, but they still go up. So you can see, like, even if the earnings are not amazing, sometimes they can still pop. So if you look at just Facebook stock right here, you can see like how whippy this thing can get. And when you look at the actual numbers, you can see the estimate was 2.537 versus 2.72. So it did beat it, but again, not anything like, not a blowout or anything, but that's, they had a tough time just not long ago. So when you look at it just recently, we had this massive drop, and now we got a little bit of a pop. So big drop, little pop. So it's still struggling a bit. I think with Facebook just overall, it's still struggling a tad bit. And as I look to things here, just on the trend or trades, I think you are starting to see a little bit of this bottom area or action. There was a lot of action in the 150 area between 2018 and kind of 2020. And you can see we've hit those points a handful of times. So I think 150 is probably, like, I'm going to call it a massive bottom right there. And I think you'll get a very good value if you get it somewhere around there. Now, do we have kind of a bottom around this 200 level? Now, the stock got into about 160 down here, 169, I think 170. So it got into that zone. And I think this could be setting up for another potential where it is partly a bottom. But that could be a little bit weaker. So we do have some toppy areas here, which are going to act somewhat as support. But right now, because the market's been in a free fall a little bit, there's going to be some action in that zone to kind of play out. So that's why if we look at the weekly right now, that looks all good. And this seems to be like kind of a flush out area where a lot of people dumped the stock. You can see it just kind of went down, and now we're kind of back up. So just got back right in that zone and area, and we'll see if things can hold. But looking at it right there, this would be kind of a nice support range to watch, because this was a lot of action, even though here was a lot of emotions. Right now it's kind of back in that zone, and we're starting to kind of get sideways. So looking from a longer term perspective, I think it could go back into some higher levels. It got into about 380, almost 400. And but if you look at just kind of the trend here, you're kind of looking at this upward slope, and you're kind of getting it at this lower end. So these two connect, this one connects, and you can see it's actually doing not bad. Here in this upper end, it's kind of tough to gauge because you've got one here, you've got one here. So there's no real viable trend on the upper end right now anymore. So I would look at kind of this trend right here, because this line and these two make a point, extend that out, and you can see it's coming right into it as well. So right there, it looks okay here. Obviously you have a gap now here, and with that, the gap can be filled. So you want to be a little careful, because that's a good 20 point, 25 point move here on this gap, and that's something to be aware of. But other than that, you're kind of in a free range for now for earnings to maybe after earnings for this stock to kind of come back into this level and maybe even fill this gap. I don't think it'll happen in 3 months, but who knows? You never know. So watch this zone right there. You've got a gap there. You got a little bit of a gap over here. And you still have a lot of bearish sentiment here with a little bit of trouble on social media fronts, because the bearish volume is just there. So the selling pressure is still there. There's still some huge selling pressure in the stock, but it's just basically from overhead supply, where people bought it at earlier levels at like 350, 320, and they're like, I just want to get out, that kind of thing. So this could be an opportunity to really just start nibbling a little bit. if you're kind of interested, but I wait about 3 to 5 days to see if it starts to kind of move a little bit upward, kind of like it did here, because that's kind of what you'd want. You want a little bit of confirmation, because if this is the start, if this is the start to a bigger, larger trend, let's say you're kind of going to start moving to the upside after a nasty move, and this is start to like maybe a longer trend like that, then definitely be a little more patient. You don't have to get in it, the first days over here. You could get in it a little bit later for a little more confirmation. So anyways, that's just my take and some thoughts and insights for you. Hope you got a little bit out of this video and it gives you some insight on it. So truly appreciate you joining me. And remember to check out our freebies by clicking the link right over here. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're brand new, check out the freebies, join the Discord channel, whatever you like, one-on-one coaching session. Just let me know. I'd be happy to help you out. So thanks again, and I will see you next time.